This week, PACE President Anne Brasseur pays an official visit to Azerbaijan. Recruitment and financing of terrorism and organised crime. A Council of Europe conference discusses the issues. And Russia is accused of intercepting telephone data without a court order. Hello and welcome back to The Journal, a roundup of news and views from the Council of Europe in Strasbourg. The President of the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe, Anne Brasseur, has been paying an official visit to Azerbaijan. Ms. Brasseur met with President Aliyev and also held meetings with leaders of political parties in the parliament, members of the Azerbaijani delegation to PACE and the Prosecutor General. She also met human rights activists to discuss the issue of journalists and others held in detention. Afterwards, Ms. Brasseur commented on her visit, saying that more progress was needed in Azerbaijan regarding freedom of expression, freedom of association and judicial independence. And speaking about the recent arrests of civil society activists, the President said it was a source of grave concern. She went on to say that the detentions highlighted the need to address systemic deficiencies in the operation of justice in Azerbaijan, as noted in the findings of the European Court of Human Rights in the case of the pre-trial detention of Ilgar Mammadov. Still to come, the news in brief, but first this. A Council of Europe International Conference in the Spanish city of Malaga has been discussing ways of tackling recruitment to terror and organised crime groups. The conference, made up of judges, prosecutors, policymakers and other terrorism experts, has also been addressing a range of issues, including radicalisation and recruitment in prisons, and ways of stopping the funding of terror campaigns. The editor-in-chief of a publishing company claims that Russian authorities intercepted telephone data without judicial authorization. The Grand Chamber of the European Court of Human Rights has begun hearing Roman Zakharov's case, in which he alleges that his right to respect for private life and correspondence has been violated by law enforcement agencies. Mr. Zakharov, who lives in St. Petersburg, also argues that he has no legal remedy in Russia for his complaint under Article 8 of the European Convention on Human Rights, namely his right to respect for private life. The case continues. The Council of Europe's anti-human trafficking group, Greta, has issued its first ever report on Iceland. In it, Greta welcomes steps taken by Iceland to prevent and combat human trafficking, including new legislation and 2 national action plans. But the report highlights the need for further efforts to address trafficking for the purpose of labour exploitation. There has only ever been one officially recognised victim of trafficking in Iceland. And Greta says that Italy has taken important steps to prevent and combat human trafficking, but warns that a number of challenges remain. In its first report on Italy, Greta welcomes the development of a legal framework for combating trafficking in and the prevention of long-term assistance to victims. And at the same time, Greta is urging Italian authorities to improve the identification of victims of trafficking by introducing a national ID scheme. The Council of Europe's Drugs Policy Unit, the Pompidou Group, has been discussing the little talked about subject of the environmental damage caused by illegal substances. At an annual meeting in Strasbourg, delegates have heard that researchers in the United States calculated that cannabis manufacture uses 1% of the USA's electricity. Delegates have also heard that an area of Colombian rainforest the size of a football pitch is destroyed every time 7 kilograms of cocaine is made.
Yeah, nobody does think about that. People think that it's coming from some black market, but cocaine is produced in Colombia. And you might not know that, but Colombia is producing 15%, the rainforest there, 15% of the global oxygen.
To produce one joint, you need electricity that is comparable to one lamp of 40 watt that are burning in 25 hours. And this joint creates 1.5 kilo of CO2 to produce.
Taking a look at some of the highlights next week, we'll bring you the results of the second Václav Havel Human Rights Prize. There are nominees from Israel, Malta and Azerbaijan, plus the rest of the news from the Parliamentary Assembly session. Remember to follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. From me and the rest of the team, goodbye.